In this video, we're going to work through using MoGraph to create a virus structure. There are lots of virus structures out there, as you can see in this image. For the purposes of this project, we're just imagining a very generic version. It'll be a spherical virus that has proteins on the surface. So we'll be using MoGraph to create the virus. And then we'll also be using MoGraph to generate a field of these viruses. So we'll use a stand-in or stunt double for our main virus, Hero, so that your computer isn't tasked as hard while it's trying to compute where all of these viruses are in the background. So check out the video description for the project file, and also visit some of the other links while you're in there, and let's get going. All right, so the virus we're going to make will be spherical, and it'll have protein projections. And so I'm going to use a simple sphere to start with, and I'm going to hit NB on my keyboard just so that I can see the polygonal structure of my sphere. And I want to use one that has even distribution, right? So we've got all different types of spheres in here. There's a tetrahedron, so not very even. Hexahedron is pretty even, but not great. Octahedron has this sort of pinching in the top. Icosahedron is the one that has sort of the most even distribution around the sphere, and so that's the one I'm going to use. I also want to create just one protein structure. We'll make it a little funky. So let's do a cube to start with. And I've got my project settings set up in millimeters right now. So I'm going to do 30 millimeters by 200 by 30. And we'll move that over and see what it looks like. It's a little small. I'm going to scale this whole thing up actually to be about this size. And I might go ahead and scale it a little more, make it wider. So let's see, we're 77. Let's just do 90, 90, and 500. I'll make it even. Excellent. Okay. And so I want to take this one and give it a few divisions in the Y. And then I'm going to make it editable. I'm going to grab my polygon editing tool, and I'm going to hit U and then L on my keyboard, and then select the side one so that I can get a ring of these. So that's the loop selection. And I'll hit T to enlarge this one a little bit. I'm just going to move it down. Hit T again. I might sort of make it a little more squat. And well, after we've gotten this far, let's go ahead and put this in a subdivision surface. I'm going to hold down Option and click the subdivision surface tool. So we're getting this sort of water tower sort of looking thing. I think I want to work on it a little bit more. I think I'm going to use, I'll hit my loop selection again and select this top row. And I'm going to scale it, but I want to turn on soft selection. And so I'm going to enable soft selection. So to do that, I've selected the move tool, and that when the move tool came up, I selected soft selection, enable. And I'm just going to change this radius down until it's grabbing a lot of it, but not all of it. I'm going to go ahead and widen this whole thing up in the X and Z axis so that it feels a little bit more unique. I just felt like it was just a little too sort of generic. I'm just making a few changes. UL, I'm going to use that loop selection when I do anything. Just move it down a little more, maybe scale this. So it sort of looks like a golf tee, but it's also, and again, this is generic, so I'll turn off my soft selection here and bring this one in. Just trying to make it feel a little unique. Some sort of unique looking shape. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to use this as my object that I'm going to duplicate across the surface. And I want to move, I'm going to keep this subdivision surface. I'm going to move the axis, right? So I'm going to enable the axis tool and move it down so I have a axis point that's low. And then I'll turn that back off. So that'll allow us to distribute the protein over the surface based on this point right here. And so I'm going to use a cloner object now. And this cloner is going to clone this protein over the surface of my sphere. And so I need to tell it to be an object cloner. and I need to tell it to use my sphere as the object it's cloning to. And what is it going to clone? It's going to clone this subdivision surface with the cube inside of it. So I'll zoom out a little bit. And right now it's set up to distribute along the surface sort of randomly based on this random seed. I'm going to change this to polygon center. So it's creating a lot of them right now. I also want to rotate them because for whatever reason, MoGraph always grabs the structure you make and it rotates it on the bank 90 degrees. I'm sorry, on the pitch 90 degrees. So I'm going to say pitch minus 90, and that should bring it out so that it's actually being duplicated on the surface. But you can see how even the distribution of this is. It feels very even around the entire sphere, and that's what we're looking for. In order to reduce the number here, I actually need to reduce the number of segments on my sphere. So I'm just going to drag this down until I feel happy. And so I've drag it down to 13. And now it's creating this number, and this actually looks like a great virus. I even like the structure of the object in the background, but I'm actually going to make it spherical. So let's go ahead and keep this. I want to make a new sphere or duplicate this one. We'll call this sphere. We'll call this virus body editor or viewport, and we'll call this virus body render. And what I want to do is hide this one completely and tell this one to be visible. And this one I'll tell it to have many more polygons, like 65, and that'll give you nice and rounds now, right? So we've got this really nice round virus with these proteins being produced on its surface, and that will be the virus we'll work with for the rest of the project. Let's go ahead and throw a couple of materials on here just to give us something to work with. I'll create a new material, redshift material, and I'll duplicate that one. Actually, no. I'm going to call this one virus, and I'm going to edit it first. So our virus is going to have maybe a purplish gray body. Let's turn down the turn up the roughness to maybe 0.5 so it's not so shiny. Looks like a candy shell. I kind of like that. And now I'm going to duplicate this one and call this one protein. And for this one, let's make it like an orange. So that's our virus, and we can always modify those colors a little bit later if we decide we want to. From here, let's figure out how to duplicate these in the background and make them feel like they're actually swimming around and moving in sort of a fluid. And so this is how I would approach that. The first thing I want to do is actually create a stunt double for my virus, right? So I'm going to grab this entire thing. I'm going to hit Option G, and I'm going to call this virus. I'm actually going to open it back up and grab this all again, except for this one. I'll hit Option G, and I'll call this one hero. And then I will duplicate, I think just my virus body. I'm going to duplicate down here. So I control drag that down. I'll make it show. This virus body, I want to scale up so it's bigger and takes up exactly the same amount of space as sort of the protein and the virus together. And this is going to be my stunt double. So what we want to do is tell our virus body, it's sort of the stunt double, to stand in, to only show up in the editor, right? And we want to show the hero virus, our star to show, only to show up when we render. And to do that, you can use these little buttons, right? So the top button is viewport, or the view panel, your editor window. The bottom button is renderer. So I want the hero not to show up. So it's red. And if you look at this basic tab, it's doing the same thing here, right? So viewport visibility for the hero is off. render visibility is going to be on. And for the virus body that we're using in the viewport, we're going to do the opposite, right? So we want it on in the viewport, but off in the renderer. And this is what we get. So when we're looking in our viewport and working in Cinema 4D in our editor to design our animation, we're going to see this. But when we render, we're going to see this. So just a nice trick to be able to produce something quickly and not bog down your machine while you're working so much. So let's take this virus. I want this to be in here too. Let's take this virus and we're going to duplicate it using a cloner. So I'll make another cloner. This is just going to be a grid cloner. And that grid cloner is going to be set to grid. And it's going to clone the virus. So I'm going to zoom out and just position my, trying to decide how big I want these viruses to be in my view. So let's go to this cloner. Let's label this as virus cloner. And let's have the grid be more in the width. Let's turn this on multi-instance. That'll make it move quite a bit faster, right? So it's going to work a lot faster for us. I'll make a few this way, and I'm only going to make like 2 deep, I think. And I'm going to go ahead and space these apart in every dimension quite a bit. I'll stop looking through my camera now. I have a good idea for, I think I'm going to make a few more actually. So we're making a lot of these. We'll do 3. My goal here is just to make these feel like there's sort of a lot of them and they're in a field. And then we'll use some shallow depth of field later on and all of that. And I'll show you the render that I was able to make at the end here. So now that I've got this grid set up and it's framed kind of the way I want it to be framed and I have a camera and all of that, let's go ahead and figure out how to make these move around a little bit more. So first thing I'm going to do is just kind of distribute these a little bit so that they're not so perfectly aligned. And I'm going to use a random effector to do that. So I've got my virus cloner selected and I'm going to go up to MoGraph Effector and Random. And I just want to use the X, Y, and Z to sort of position these so that they're not perfectly aligned, right? So they just have a little bit of variation so they feel more naturally sort of arranged in there. I also want to add in some rotation. So I'm going to say 360 in each of the dimensions here so that they are sort of, randomly rotated, even though you can't really tell all that much. If I do a quick render here, you're going to see that they're distributed in different ways, but they're not all exactly aligned, right? So there's some variation in the way they're positioned. We're also going to make them move now, and they'll rotate while they do that as well. So I want them to kind of feel like they're like flowing around in like a viscous sort of environment or in the wind or something like that. The next thing I'm going to do is add another random effector, and that random effector is going to control the motion. So we'll say MoGraph Effector Random. And in this case, I want to make some changes. I'm actually going to label this one and call it motion. Under the effector tab, I'm going to change this from random to noise. And what that does is it applies a 3-dimensional noise shader. And if I were to go ahead and play, you'll see that they're all sort of jiggling around now, right? So they've got some motion. And what I want to do is I'm going to leave it on its default at first, and then I'm going to come to the parameter tab and start changing the scale. Right? I mean, start changing the dimensions. So how much are they moving? All right, so if you needed to mimic something like Brownian motion, this is a good way to do that. Z, Y. So this feels very jittery and not very flowy like I want. I'm looking at the numbers that I'm putting in here, and it's looking like 6,000 for me might work for each one of these. And I'll go ahead and leave it at maybe 3,000 in the Z. So they're moving around randomly at different speeds. I kind of like it. But for what I want to do, I want it to feel a little bit more fluid. And so the first thing I'll do is turn down the speed, and I'll take it down to like 10%. All right, so now they're doing the same exact thing they were doing before, but they're doing it on a really slow sort of timeline, right? So they're not moving anywhere near as quickly. So if I just needed like a shot of viruses in the background, sort of moving around and feeling like they're in a viscous sort of environment, I think this would work really well. I might also come in here and just add in some rotation for each one so that they do have a little bit of rotational movement. All right, so now they're moving around, but they're also rotating. So this is going to feel really nice when we render this out. There's one more thing I want to try to do, and that is just space them apart a little bit more. And I'm going to try to use this push apart effector. So I'm selecting my virus cloner. I'm going to go to MoGraph Effectors, and I'm going to hit push apart. And I'm going to do this number about the same dimension as the size of the viruses, which is about 1500, I think. 1500, 1550. And so now when they get close to each other, they should move around each other. And so you shouldn't see any overlapping at this point. So as long as that number um, is the same as the virus. Now I'm seeing some weird stuff going on in the background. That happened right at the beginning. I'm not seeing it happening in other places. I guess I am seeing it in other places right here. And in order to fix that, I could try a delay effector. I'm going to try that really quickly. And that should help slow things down a little bit so any of those motions don't seem so strange and eye-catching. I think I could also turn down, I might bring this back up to 5 and turn down the strength to 50. Anytime you're doing anything with MoGraph and having a bunch of objects interacting, you're going to have something most likely that you'll need to work on just to make some fine tuning. So I'm seeing this happening in here a little bit, but mostly it seems like it's kind of fixed. I'm seeing some overlapping there that I don't like at all, so I'm going to pump this up to 75. So I'm going to come in here to my animation speed and turn this up to 20 just so it feels a little bit less slow, and these viruses are kind of bouncing into each other. And now some of those interactions aren't bothering me quite as much because it just feels like they're all flowing around in this field and they're bumping into each other, and I think that actually works pretty well. So I've got this nice field of viruses. This is all parametrically driven. And what's beautiful about that is I could say, you know what, I think that I would like to have a little bit more depth in here, and you can just add more. You've got a whole nother level of depth in here that you can work with, depth of field and all of that. So very versatile if you're trying to create a field of anything kind of moving around like this. So here's a version rendered with some depth of field and a little bit of atmosphere in the background so you can get a good feeling for what this is like when you actually apply it to a project. Project files are in the description, so go ahead and download those. I'll include the render settings and all that in that project. So if this video has been helpful for you, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again in another video.